Well, those were two hornpipes, the high level hornpipe, and those are my intro to this little talk on Irish uilleann pipes. These are the Irish uilleann pipes, and I understand at the present time back in Ireland, the uilleann pipes are enjoying something of a renaissance. They are playing more uilleann pipes in Ireland now and in several other countries than were ever played, I believe, in the history of this instrument. I learned how to play, or first had my first relationship with uilleann pipes back in my father's home in County Dublin. And many musicians used to come to visit our house. And as a little boy, I used to wonder what they were doing here. There were several men, I think I can mention some names. Sean Doran, Brother Gildas, Mr. Potts, Liam Harding, and several of these men would come to our house on a Saturday night, and this is happening in other homes in Ireland back in the late 20s and early 30s. So I used to watch these men as they come into our house, and they would be playing all kinds of tunes, jigs, reels, and hornpipes. And around about 10:30 or so, I'd be on the staircase listening to these people play, and then my mother would come into the room and say, "It's time for you to go to bed." So I'd go upstairs, and it would be almost impossible to sleep because, you know, the houses weren't very big, and the sound would carry right up to the floor. So that was more or less how I got my introduction to Irish music. I'm not the first to play Irish music in my family. My grandfather played flute, and his brother played violin. I believe he played at the Abbey Theatre one time. So I can talk a little bit about the pipes. When I got into the formal area of playing pipes, I had some tuition from Leo Rowesome, a great Wexford piper, and a great Wexford family. And he's the one that more or less showed me the rudiments of piping. And then my father, after that, I did have some tuition then from a Cork piper by the name of Pather Bro. I believe he came from around Fermoy. And Pather and I got along very well, and in fact I saw Pather back in 1973. Let me describe what the uilleann pipes are. If you're going to say play uilleann pipes, my suggestion would be that you should try to procure a bag, which is this, the bellows, and this chanter. Now the chanter is where we get the melody of the pipes. That is, without all of this other paraphernalia right here, which gives you the two scales. Now that note on the bottom is the bottom D. The uilleann pipes, because of the fact that the chanter, by the way, what I've got here is the piper's third hand, a praskeen they call it, and that is to stop the chanter. It's a leather pad that I have here strapped to my thigh, and that will stop the chanter by closing off the note on the bottom of the chanter. So if you start off and you want to play this instrument, I would suggest that you just procure a bag, bellows, and chanter, and not worry about all this other stuff until you have really mastered how to master the chanter, because this is where it all happens, is by playing the chanter. Now, as you might notice, I can get two scales on this chanter, and the two scales, starting on the bottom D, and that's the high D. Now I go to the bottom, the next octave. That is the soft D on the bottom, as opposed to the hard D, which is a hard D. Now, that's what makes this instrument unique. You can do several things on it. They have what they call an ornamentation on the bottom, which is cranning. That's what's known as a cran on the bottom with a G grace and a G triplet on it. The Uilleann pipes are unique in that sense that you can play a wide variety of tunes on it, and it is an instrument that has evolved over the years. As I say, it started off possibly by having just the chanter and then the drones, which are right here. Gives that sound. The drone, this is the bass drone here, the baritone drone, and the tenor drone. Then there's the regulators, the tenor regulator, the baritone regulator, and the bass regulator. So all of these will give you chords to rhyme, to meld in or meld in with your chanter notes. This instrument is a very, very cantankerous instrument. If it has too much heat, it's inclined to flatten. If it gets too cold, the reels will close up in either weather. It's an instrument that requires a lot of attention, a lot of care, a lot of maintenance. And it's probably one of the great frustrations of pipers, that it's an instrument that can be very humbling, because when you expect it to work very well, it won't. The Uilleann pipes, in America especially, have a situation where you have to be very careful of the type of weather. When we have our very hot summers here, it's not advisable to play the pipes outside where the temperature can be in the high 80s and 90s and even 100-degree weather. It's also not advisable to play the instrument in some very cold halls. Sometimes the halls can be almost at freezing point, which makes the metal part of the pipes get very cold and hard to touch. So if the instrument is too cold or too hot, it won't function very well. So it's advisable then to be very aware of maintenance when you're playing this instrument. All instruments need a lot of maintenance, but this particular instrument requires a tremendous amount of maintenance. And another reason for that being is that this particular set is a concert pitch set of Uilleann pipes, in concert pitch in the key of D. There are 7 reeds, a chanter reed. The chanter reed is the reed that gives you the melody. It's almost like the reed of an oboe, and it is very, very delicate. If it gets wet, it's ruined. You just can't win. So you have to be very careful of the reed that's in this chanter right here. So I'll just show you the reed. It's a double reed, and this, you have to make your own reeds, and I made this reed myself. So you have to be very careful with these reeds. If you break the reed, you're out of business, the chanter reed. The same goes, there are double reeds in the regulators, in bass, in the baritone, and in the tenor regulator. These are also double reeds. The drone reeds are regular drone reeds you see in any drone instrument, whether it be Highland bagpipes or Northumbrian bagpipes or any type of different bagpipes, the French bagpipes, or all of the different bagpipes. The drone reeds are pretty much the same. I'll demonstrate another type of music that are played. One of the things that I always suggest to people is when they're taking up this instrument is not to be too quick to jump in to play dance tunes, to play airs, the slow airs. I consider the slow airs of Irish traditional music the soul music of Irish music, of Irish traditional music. And this is where a lot of yourself, the player's own emotion, goes into the playing of this particular kind of music, these slow airs. I will demonstrate one of these airs right now. was in Gaelic or in Irish, Tom's from Colours na Dúistir mé. Translation in English, I'm asleep, don't wake me. Now, so far I've just demonstrated more or less the airs and the slow music of playing the pipes. Of course, the pipes are usually played as a virtuoso instrument. Lately they've been brought into all kinds of groups, but usually they were played as an instrument by individuals playing on their own. Nowadays, with the better equipment and the new techniques and the new tuning instruments we have, electronic tuning, the pipes can be pretty well tuned to more or less working with other instruments such as the fiddle, the flute, bouzouki, and several other instruments that are played now in Irish groups playing traditional Irish music. I would like to start off now by saying that I would like to thank Leo Rowesome, President of Comhaltas Kiltorey na Heron, and Breach Kelly, our chairman here in Detroit, for giving me this opportunity to talk about Irish traditional music and the uilleann pipes in particular. I'm by no means an expert, but I do encourage people to get involved in Irish music. I'm not here to frighten people away from the instrument or anything like that. I think traditional Irish music is living and doing very well. In fact, I think it's getting stronger all the time. And I think one of the great driving forces behind the revival in Irish music has been the organization of a group of people under the auspices of Comhaltas Kiltorey na Heron. So with that, I'd just like to play a little tune now, a dance tune. This time I play a jig. That was an Irish jig, a 4-part jig called A Lark in the Morning. It's a very popular jig, played very often at sessions, but it's a good jig, and it's got a lot of playing in it, and I enjoy playing it. I would just like to show you, some comparisons on how the instrument is made. I have here with me an American-made chanter. It's made by a man in Chicago. His name was Patrick Henley, and he came to this country from County Mayo. And I understand that he did work at one time with the tailors who made the tailor sets of pipes in Philadelphia. And as you can see right here, as opposed to putting the keys in back of the chanter like most Irish makers do, these keys are in the front of the chanter. Also, the chanter is rather flat, and so many of the tailor sets of pipes had these kind of keys mounted on them. I just thought I'd show you, by way of curiosity, how the American approach to making this instrument. There are an awful lot of tutors made that are written about on the uilleann pipes, and I brought along some of them here just to, I won't actually go in chronology, but this one here by the Armagh Pipers Club is a very good book, written by the Balladys, and very good for beginners, and it has a lot of tunes and a lot of hints on how to play the music. There's a tutor by Crowley and Sons of Cork, Ireland, which has some very good and interesting comments made in the forward and the list of subscribers. And this was one of the first, I believe, tutors put out on the Irish uilleann pipes, and it contains like diagrams of the parts, their names, the regulars, how they are played and tuned, the drones and their tuning, and how to hold a chanter, scales, fingering, and all of the different things that are necessary to know something about the pipes. There was another one put out by Wilbert Garvin, which is also very informative, has a lot of how the tenor regulators are tuned and how the chanter, how to play the back D in unison with the tenor drone. It describes the baritone regulator. A is in perfect fifth with the tenor drone, and in unison with an A on the chanter. Now, these are all very technical parts of learning the music of the pipes. And that was one of the things that I wanted to stay away from, because I feel sometimes that when you get into the technicalities of learning an instrument, you get a little bit pedantic. And I found that with many people, or quite a number of people who like to teach the instrument, in their zealousness to teach the music, they forget that this music belonged to the people of Ireland and was passed on from father to son and friends and neighbours in an oral sense rather than in a written sense. Although there's no harm in having some of these tutors. This tutor here happens to be written by an American, Dennis Brooks, who I believe now lives in Cork, Ireland. It is also very good, has some very useful information. And the latest, I understand, is the New Uilleann Pipe Tutor by H.J. Clark. And I found this to be very, very interesting. It is a very good book. It has a lot of useful information in it and very up to date, and describes to beginners a lot of useful information, which I feel is good to the beginner. It also goes on to talk to the intermediate player, and then it goes to talk about to an advanced player. I think all of this information is very, very useful. Some of the people mentioned in this book, Micheál O'Hedin, who is an excellent instructor, and I think Micheál, you'll find him at the Coltis Kiltorian Heron in Ballynamanach in outside Dunleary, and he is very good. And I understand if you stop in Coltis, you can talk to Michael there, and he'll give you a lot of very good tutorial advice. Leo Rowesome on Stutor, Coltis Kiltorian Heron, and we have also people in Europe who were involved in this book. Daniel Hervé, teacher, Paris Pipers Club. There are pipers in Paris. So you won't be lost for friends when you take up uilleann pipes. I would also like to suggest to you that if you do get into the pipes, one of the things that I think is very useful is to buy a penny whistle or a tin whistle, Fed Oak Stain as it's called in Irish. If you start off on that, you will not make much of an investment. It's not a penny any longer. It costs, I suppose, about $5. I don't know what they cost in Ireland at the moment. It's not a big investment in an instrument, but it will more or less help you to get used to or get acquainted with traditional music. I'd like to play now a reel, and it's another dance tune. there are many tunes you can play on the pipes: reels, jigs, hornpipes, set dances. And I'd like now to play a tune that I enjoy very much playing on pipes. It's a hornpipe called the Golden Ring. And I think it demonstrates the instrument very well. And that tune, the Golden Ring, I suppose, demonstrates, without any question, the kind of music that can be played on the uilleann pipes. I would just strongly emphasize now a lot of the things that people have to do playing this instrument in America, where you have rather large differences in the temperatures in America, where you can have 20 below zero and 110 degrees in the shade. So, which is completely opposite of what you might have, say, in the home of the instrument back in Ireland, where you wouldn't have that big a fluctuation in temperatures. So people who, when they bring their pipes or instruments, particularly the pipes from America, would be advised to really have their instrument well maintained and make sure that it has enough moisture, because in some of the drier climates, say in the southwest in Arizona and places like that, the pipes are inclined to close up, especially when in the high temperature times of the summertime. And in the winter, in the northern climes here, it's very, very cold. So the best time, I think, best times to play pipes in the United States are, say, in the springtime and in the fall. Those are some of the things that I would like to see in some of the tutorials. There's not very much mentioned about those kind of things, like weather conditions and those sort of things in these tutorials. And I think these are would be important to people who start out playing pipes here, because as we drive in cars a lot, and our main means of transportation is in cars, taking the pipes around in cold weather can be very damaging to the instrument. I had an near miss with my pipes here last year when they almost froze on me because I had left them in a car someplace. But those are just maintenance instruments that you have to be careful about. Uilleann pipes can be bought in Ireland and are made in America. There are some very good makers in Ireland. There are several people there who make pipes. There are several people here in the United States who make pipes. There's a little difference in the prices of them in different places. I don't sell pipes. I'm not in the, or do I make pipes? I try to make the reeds. You have to make your own reeds. I think it's very important that you learn how to make your reeds. I advise people who go to Ireland to say, go to and visit Colts, Kiltorian and Heron. Also, if they can afford to go to Ireland to attend the Willie Clancy School, which is put on by the Pipers Club in Dublin. And these people have excellent instructors also who will help people, particularly people, beginners in this instrument. I will, I think, end this now by playing another air.